Today's First Alert afternoon weather update is brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.
Good Tuesday afternoon. I'm First Alert meteorologist Diane Phillips joining you. I am glad that you are able to hang out with us here this afternoon. We were taking yesterday off just with summer. We all know it's kind of vacation season, so we're glad to have you back hanging out with us here in the 2 o'clock hour. We are still on all of our same platforms. We'll talk about those later, but we also are going to be talking about some big summer heat that we have coming up here for the later portions of this week. And it's going to be warm, nothing that we haven't felt before, but we do have a First Alert weather day because of it. So we want you to make sure that you are preparing for the heat coming in and maybe thinking about how that is going to affect your schedules as we get closer towards Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, we only have a little bit of time before that is going to be moving in for us. So as we get started here, you are going to find that we do have our conditions for our First Alert weather day on Thursday. Though tomorrow is going to be just as warm, Thursday is really when that humidity gets going. So we're forecasting air temperatures. So this is just how it is going to be measuring up on the thermometer is the mid 90s. So that is hot on its own. Then when you add that humidity factor in, that's when those feels like temperatures really start to take off, and we're going to have heat indices into the mid to upper 90s, even nearing the triple digits at times as we go into the afternoon and evening. So that's why we are issuing that First Alert weather day. We just want you to use this time to prepare. Maybe you don't have air conditioning. This is the time to think, okay, maybe I'm going to run, get some groceries so I can use the air conditioning at the store. Maybe I'm going to go hang out at the mall and kind of cool out for a little bit. Maybe I'm going to just go over to my friend's house. They have air conditioning. So this is just kind of the chance to make sure that you are making those plans ahead of time. That's why we have these First Alert weather days, is we want you thinking in advance on how this is going to affect your everyday life, how this could bother your schedule. I know we also have some events that are going to be taking place on Thursday. We also have a lot of festivals going on. So with it being warm, we want everybody just taking care of themselves, using this time to hydrate, and also know where you can find some cooling areas. Also, to just take care of one another, checking in on our neighbors, our friends, the elderly, and also taking care of our pets. We'll talk about that coming up on some of the things that you can do to kind of help your friend or your furry friends out. But we will find that our high temperatures, you're going to see here, those are going to be on Thursday sitting into the low to mid 90s. So we are going to be looking at those highs, like I said, on their own are going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be hot. We are going to have temperatures, you can see 95 Saginaw, Midland, 93 in Flint, 92 in Bad Axe. It's even going to be warm into the thumb. We're also going to find that we have 94 in Oscoda, 91 in Houghton Lake. So simply when we're talking 90s, we're no stranger. We've already experienced them, but we will continue to see these conditions that are going to be hot here as we go throughout our Thursday. Then we add the humidity factor on top of it. So when we look at our humidity outlook, it's pleasant today. So you're not really going to notice it, or you're really not going to even say that it's all that uncomfortable outside. But we are going to find that as we go throughout our Wednesday, the Wednesday is going to be just as warm. We'll be forecasting highs in the upper 80s, lower 90s. The humidity factor isn't nearly as strong. Those dew points are going to start to climb through the day, so that means that the humidity will start to build in, but it really actually reaches its peak by Thursday. So that is the difference on why we have the First Alert weather day for Thursday and not on Wednesday, is the humidity factor. That's always so unforgiving while you're out there, and it can always be very thick at times. So with those dew points that are going to be climbing, they do peak on Thursday, and we have a cold front that comes in. It tries to drop it a little bit, but overall we're still going to find humidity to be in the First Alert forecast as we go into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here through the weekend. So we do anticipate that you are going to be working through these humid conditions here for a while, but at least temperatures drop back a little bit. Either way, it is still going to be hot when we look at that 7-day forecast. Something that feels like temperatures, even as we go into the evening, this is probably when you have plans Thursday night. Maybe you want to hear some live music, maybe you have a ball game that you're going to. That's still when we're going to be working our way through the heat. So it feels like temperatures near the triple digits. You can see some of us mid to upper 90s, 100 degrees to be possible. So this is very much some uncomfortable weather for us. So again, that's why we're first alerting you to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that you're also preparing for the heat that's going to be coming in. If you don't have air conditioning, even tomorrow, you're going to want to maybe think about closing those blinds, get those fans ready, and making sure that you can keep your house as cool as possible. So, of course, take care of yourself. Maybe also think about meal planning. You don't want to really run the oven and have that extra heat into the house here when we're already talking. Feels like temperatures into the triple digits. So any way to kind of maybe save a buck on the air conditioning or just keep your house cool. That's why we're first alerting you to these conditions. But also, you may want to be taking care of your furry friends. When we go outside, some of the pavement can be extremely hot for them. And plus, on Thursday, not only do we have the conditions where we are going to have the hot weather, but we do also have some storms that are possible, and those conditions can also be bothersome for some of our pets. So I'm going to turn it over. We had our reporter Zane Omer. She put a package together a couple weeks ago, and I thought that there was some good reminders in there, so I want to have those kind of on a little refresh for you as we go into this weather spell.
Well, experts share tips with TV5's Zane Omer on how to make sure your furry friends feel comfortable and stay safe during severe weather. Zane?
It's been a hot and gray day here in Flint, and chances are if we're feeling it, your animals are too. But there are some easy ways you can keep your pets safe, happy, and healthy during severe weather. Just like humans, cats and dogs can feel anxious or scared when it comes to severe weather.
Cats are usually maybe a bit more skittish with things like that, so they might just kind of run and hide. But dogs, I mean, you definitely can see the signs of anxiety like shaking or excessive panting, drooling.
Hannah Peterson is the social media manager for Genesee County Animal Control. She suggests creating a comfortable space with positive distractions for your pet when storms roll through.
Maybe it's a chew toy or some kind of special enrichment. A lot of people like to take maybe a Kong and fill it with peanut butter, freeze it, so that way they have something to entertain them and it takes a bit longer. Playing some soothing music, you can always do that, or maybe like a TV show on low volume.
While it is recommended to bring outdoor animals inside, Peterson says it's important to make sure they have a shelter.
Really making sure that they have a safe place to go. A dog house would be the bare minimum just to be able to be under some type of shelter, out of the rain.
And animals can easily be spooked by severe weather, meaning more turn up missing.
Your pet has a collar on, even if you just write on the inside of it with permanent marker your phone number, your name. That way, if your pet does end up here, we can, call you right away, try to have a reunion happen as soon as possible.
Heat can also take a toll on your pets, especially dogs with extra fur, like shepherds and huskies.
You can put cool water on like their chest area and on their paws. A lot of people will put it on their back, which sometimes helps, but sometimes also can just heat the animal up more just because they're in the sunshine. It's going to heat up quicker with that water on them.
Peterson says dogs can get third-degree burns on their paw pads from walking on hot pavement or sidewalks.
Actually put the back of your hand on the ground for 5 seconds or so. If you're able to comfortably tolerate it, then your pet should be fine. If not, then definitely stick to those grassy areas.
Other signs to look out for are heat stroke and dehydration, which can include panting, acting lethargic, and changes in personality.
They're not really walking around. They don't really want to move or anything like that. That's definitely concerning. Be careful if they are drinking excessive amounts of water, just because dogs sometimes will drink and drink and drink, and then they can, actually get really bloated, run into some other issues there, which we don't want.
If you notice something is wrong with your pet, Peterson says it's important to act sooner rather than later and contact your vet or an emergency vet. Reporting live in Flint, Zane Omer, back to you.
We want to thank Zane again for putting that together. Some good reminders here as we go throughout the summer season. So make sure that you are not only watching out for your human friends, but also your furry friends as well. So as we continue to talk about the heat, we also do have that storm potential that is going to be coming up in our forecast. So before we dive into that, we're going to take a real quick break and we'll be right back. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, we were talking about the heat, and we are going to be switching gears, and we are going to be talking about the potential for the storms that we do have later this week. So it is going to be a little more of an active pattern. I hope a lot of you stay on your toes here. And of course, another way to do that is to have your First Alert Weather app up and running. That's a great tool so that you can stay on top of the First Alert Weather Day on Thursday, but also the storm potential that we do have coming in as we head into that time frame. So give that a scan. If you don't have the app yet, this is always going to be free on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Also, if you have the app, make sure that it is staying updated. So of course, if any updates do come in, you have the latest version. That's always the best way to kind of stay on top of those conditions. So some good news there that you can have that app ready to go. So that is going to be a helpful tool for you as we go into here during the severe weather season. Now, as we jump into our forecast, the storm potential for today is non-existent. So we have the sunshine, the drier weather. You'll actually see here as we take a look across campus at CMU, we have the sunshine, a nice afternoon. Probably some folks doing a little bit of work before the semester gets started here in a couple of weeks. Summer's definitely flying. So I know a lot of teachers, they're going to be getting ready for back to school season. And I'm sure a lot of the students are saying, we can wait a little bit on that. But thankfully, we do have the sunshine. A little bit of cloud cover has been hanging around for us today, but overall, it really hasn't been blocking out the sun. So it's a beautiful afternoon. If you have some plans to be outside tonight, you're still going to have great weather. You can see here at 6 o'clock, still a lot of sun to hold into the forecast. And overnight, we have mostly clear skies, so we're still going to have a pretty quiet forecast as we wake up Wednesday morning. But as we go through the day on Wednesday, you will see that we do have, well, not a lot happening again, but because we do have the heat and humidity, make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye for any isolated and kind of pop-up showers. Those are still going to be possible. We do have a 10% in that forecast, but thankfully you can see here that we do have drier conditions showing up in the latest run in the hour by hour. But we do still have some rain chances that try to sneak by during the night. So as far as severe weather is concerned, it's not looking likely because we just don't have a lot of energy typically during the night. So we still could have a couple of showers that might have you waking up in the middle of the night hearing that rain on the window. But that does start to clear out as we go into the morning. Now, as we go into the afternoon, we still will be watching the potential for some storms. And even as I kind of play this through, as we pull some of that afternoon data that we're slowly getting in, you will see that we have still some storms that are going to be possible as we get closer towards 7, 8 o'clock on Thursday. Now, they are going to be scattered as they roll through, because this is a cold front. It's slowly going to sag through the area. So that's why we're going to find that the coverage is a little bit scattered. I'm also a little leery of the timing of this, just because that front can slow down. It can pick up some speed yet. So we are still going to be looking at into Thursday evening, right around about 8 o'clock. So we're kind of like right in the middle of that evening. But we are still going to see some chances for some rainfall as we even go through the rest of the night. So showers and thunderstorms to be possible, but also we don't see anything into the data or higher up in the atmosphere that shows that we would have a strong chance for severe weather. Still some gusty winds within these storms would be possible. That would be our main concern that we're watching for. But overall, you will see that heavy downpours, winds, that's mainly going to be the concern as this front just kind of sits there. Now, we are going to continue to keep some rain chances into Friday, because we will have by then that front that's trying to slow down so much that it becomes stationary. So that's why I'm a little worried about the timing. We're already seeing some trends in the long-term data that it can slow down, and that could start a little bit earlier before the front even gets here. So that's what we're going to be watching for. As we go into our severe weather outlook, though, as we get into Thursday, you will see that we have a marginal risk. So that dark green shading is for everybody here in mid-Michigan and across the lower peninsula. And a marginal risk is the lowest on our severe weather scale. So it's kind of a 1 out of 5, we could say. And so basically what that equals out to be is that isolated severe storms are possible. So it's going to be more isolated. It's going to be a little more dicey, just kind of if we can get those conditions right. So that's why you may find that we have a shower that's able to grow into a thunderstorm, and then it has some heavy rain and some gusty winds within it. So we will be, of course, first alerting you not only to the heat on Thursday, but that storm potential as we go into that time frame. So as the details, again, the timing of the cold front start to become a little bit stronger, you can get updates here. We'll be talking about this again tomorrow at 2 o'clock here at the First Alert Desk. We'll also have updates at the First Alert Weather app. Again, here's that QR code. You can give that a scan and make sure that you have that running on your your devices. And also we will have updates on our over-the-air products as well. So that first newscast where we'll have another taste of the afternoon data is going to be starting today at 4 o'clock. Now, if you do want to get outside and enjoy the nice weather that we have for today, also a little bit cooler, we have the Tuscola County Fair that is already underway. So if you're headed there this afternoon, plan on temperatures to be into the upper 70s, and we can even get into those lower 80s at times. But we'll have a lot of sunshine, maybe a few clouds here or there, but it's really not going to spoil the afternoon, and it might just provide a moment of some shade so you can kind of catch your breath and then get back out and having some fun, riding the rides, getting some of the good food, and even checking out some of the exhibits that are going to be there. So thankfully we do have some nice weather for the Tuscola County Fair. Now also we do have Rib Fest in Bay City this weekend. We do have the Munger Potato Fest that's also going to be kicking off on Thursday. So as I had mentioned, when we do have that big heat on Thursday, make sure that you are kind of keeping in mind how these conditions are going to work out for you if you are maybe going to some of these events that we have going on. So again, take care of yourself. I know we are no strangers to the heat, but if you maybe don't have air conditioning, seeing a forecast like this is not necessarily exciting. So take care of yourself, make some plans to find some AC or at least some locations that you can cool down a little bit. And check outside does have our temperatures still sitting into the mid to upper 70s. We have 81 now in Clare. We have 79 in Bay City, 72 in Oscoda. We still have some upper 60s right here along the lakeshore of the Thumb. We're also at 66 in Tawas. We have 77 for Saginaw, Caro, 79 in Lapeer. So very much a comfortable afternoon. As we look at some of those forecast highs that are going to be coming up, though, you can really see we build in that heat tomorrow. We got 90 degrees in the forecast. Reminder, though, that humidity is going to start to build in, so we're not going to be quite there yet. But as we go into Thursday, that's the big heat day. That's our first solar weather day. And then once that cold front comes through, it cools us down only to the mid 80s, which is still very much warm. So that cold front, not necessarily the strongest coming through, but it does influence the forecast to bring in at least a little bit of relief. It at least cuts down on those mid 90s. But we're right back at 89 by Sunday. So if you have some weekend plans, still plan on it for it to be a pretty warm one as we get closer to that. Let's pull up that 7-day forecast. You will see that, of course, we talked about some of the heat already. And even as we go into Monday, we still have 90s. So it looks like we got a pretty warm finale here to the end of July. And because we are talking some heat and humidity, that is going to continue to pop some rain chances for us. So though it kind of looks like an active pattern here, a lot of our rain chances through the weekend are a little more isolated. So there's quite a bit of noise in the data on what we're seeing, to where it's trying to pop up rain here, trying to pop up rain there, which it does make sense considering the environment that we're working through. But that doesn't mean that every day is going to be a wash. This also doesn't mean that we're able to catch up on some of the rain considering the drought conditions that we have in some locations, or even if your grass is a little bit dry and you need a little bit of help from Mother Nature to get it watered. So we do still have the nice weather for today. Bigger heat tomorrow with 90s, and then mid 90s by Thursday with the humidity sparking that first solar weather day. We will have the storms that come through in the evening associated with the cold front, and still with that front being somewhat stationary and nearby, we will keep scattered showers and thunderstorms into the Friday forecast. So that's another big day where we have events, and maybe you're thinking, oh, I can't make it to some of the opening days of our local festivals this week. I'm going to go Friday. Well, make sure that you're watching your First Alert weather app to see how that's going to play out. Now, Saturday and Sunday, we do have those isolated rain chances. They're only sitting at 20%, but we do also have some sun and some clouds that's in the forecast. So if you do have some weekend plans outside, do not cancel them yet. We still have quite a bit of time that we can fine tune the details and get a forecast put together that hopefully isn't going to ruin your summer fun. Even as we go into Monday, you can still kind of see the forecast is a little bit noisy. So again, those isolated rain chances with the heat and humidity, very much a given here as we go throughout the season. So, of course, we are going to be meeting right back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You can always watch us at WNEM.com under the live stream tab. Also, you can catch the same feed at the TV5 News app. And we also send those push alerts in the First Alert Weather app. So that's going to get you connected with us. Another place, though, that you can join us here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And you'll have the ability to replay it. It's going to be YouTube and Facebook. So if maybe you catch us a little bit later, we thank you for watching us after the fact. And also, you can catch us if you have Roku or Fire Stick. We have the WNEM TV5 channel, so our feed is going to be streaming there as well. And let's not forget, we also have Android and Apple TV. So there's plenty of ways that you can connect with us to be hanging out here as we go throughout our afternoon to keep you updated here with some of that heat. But as we wrap up here for today, we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Thank you for joining us. Today's stream has been brought to you by Lockhart Roofing.